Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Mercury Insurance. John Hartung, Jerry Hairston Jr., Nomar Garcia-Parra, and Oral Hershiser. Game one of the Fall Classic, anything but a classic for the Dodgers, and we wondered how they might look after not playing a baseball game for a week after they swept the Brewers in the NLCS. They did not look like the same team that we saw winning 9 out of 10 games to start this postseason. Blake Snell, Jerry, pitching for the first time in 11 days. He wasn't as sharp. On the other side, the Blue Jays did what they've continued to do this entire postseason, that swing the bats, and that 9-run 6th inning was the difference in the game.
I think collectively, this is the deepest lineup the Dodgers are going to face. These guys put the ball in play. They're relentless. They can hit the long ball, but they don't rely on the long ball. We saw it tonight. Dodgers, obviously, especially from the pitching standpoint, really didn't bring their A game. And on the hitting side, struck out 13 times to their 4. That has to change if we're going to win this series.
Yeah, I think this lineup, as you mentioned, it's also because it's hot right now. I mean, they're rolling right now. They have momentum coming in. You know, everyone is swinging the bat. They're feeding off the energy right now. As they said, it's the postseason. That's what they're doing. They're doing that really well. They didn't really chase. They put the ball in play, and they do have some thunder in those bats. They can drive it out of the ballpark. They showed it today. They've shown it throughout the postseason. So today just wasn't a fluke. This is what they've done. At the same time, when we look on the Dodgers side, yeah, Snell, he didn't look as sharp. You know, it wasn't there. He'll tell you that. But still managed to battle through, tried to give the team a chance to come back in this game, score some runs. I think there was an opportunity when the Dodgers had those bases loaded early in the game to really try to shift some momentum on their side, try to take some of the wind out of the sail of the Toronto Blue Jays, and they couldn't muster anything. I think that was kind of a big blow to the Dodgers, and the Toronto Blue Jays kind of rolled with that right after that. But you know, a lot of swings and misses. I mean, they did look off. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When you're off, this is one of our fears. When you're off this long, it's really hard. It really is hard at the end of a season when you are sitting down for a week, when you're just running on adrenaline because you're already physically and mentally exhausted to try to get back up. Hopefully, this wakes them up.
Yeah.
We're going to break this game down throughout this show, and we're going to look at it. And the good thing is we're going to break down one game. And to quote the great Tommy Lasorda, if it was a one-game series, I'd be really sad. But it's not a one-game series. It's a 7-game series, and there's a lot of baseball to be played.
And it was a 2-2 game going into the bottom of that 6th inning. Oral Blake Snell, we talked about, he wasn't quite as sharp tonight. He begins the 6th inning, walks, single.
They took advantage of that, and it was talking about passing the baton. They were doing that in that inning. It was really contagious for one guy after the other. It was a quality at-bat after quality at-bat, and they ran with it.
And like Oral mentioned, this is just one game. And you know what? I almost prefer, if you're going to drop a game, I almost prefer them getting punched in the mouth like they did tonight. And I think hopefully this will wake them up because it has been a long layoff. Now, hey, we're in a series. You know, if you're in a heavyweight fight, you get knocked to the ground. All right, let's see how we respond. I expect this Dodger team to respond in a big way tomorrow night.
You know, the good thing is you just have to split. You split over there in Toronto, you have home field advantage.
Yep.
Right. You know, I don't like the way the home field advantage plays out because of that. So, okay, you lose game 1, come back, win game 2, win it decisively, and all of a sudden now you have home field advantage. You get back to come.
And we predicted they'd win in 6, so they have to lose another game for them, the Dodgers, to win in 6. Again, this is the World Series. It's amazing just hearing, you know, fans talk, and I know there's talking heads that really don't know a lot of baseball. Oh, the Dodgers are going to roll. The Blue Jays are a very good team.
Yeah.
I mean, a very good team. So I'm so glad now the world has got a chance. Now, listen, the Dodgers respected the Blue Jays because they know their opponent. So the world's got a chance to see there's a reason why the Blue Jays are representing the American League in the World Series. They put the ball in play. They swing the bats extremely well, and they can pitch a little bit. Now it's up to the Dodgers to respond.
Yep. Oral, seems like the only time as a starting pitcher you would ever have 11 days between starts is maybe if you're on the injured list or something's bothering you. But this was a time when Blake Snell, he's coming off one of his best outings of his career outside of his no-hitter in that last game against the Brewers, has 10 days off before his next start. And tonight, what did you see from him that just wasn't quite what we have seen in this postseason?
It just wasn't the rhythm that we were looking for from him and the execution, and it was early on. I mean, he got out of the first inning, but it was 20-some pitches, and it was not pinpoint. He actually was becoming the old Blake Snell, which is effectively wild, compared to the guy who is pitching and making pitches and executing and really blowing you up in a way that he has like a .6 ERA through the postseason. This was the Blake Snell that was struggling with rhythm but effectively wild and always competing. But Toronto caught up with them. There was not a lot of swing and miss in Blake's game, and that was the competition tonight. It was a swing and miss pitcher against a contact team, and he wasn't hitting his spots and getting the swing and miss.
Nomar, what'd you see from Blake Snell tonight?
I just think the guys, Toronto were able to lay off pitches. They recognized early on that the fastball command wasn't quite there. An aggressive team that probably can look for fastballs, but was maneuver early on, and they were sitting and waiting and patient and took advantage.
That last pitch, that arm side fastball, obviously he wasn't trying to hit Varsho whatsoever. It got away from him. But early on, he had a hard time with that fastball command arm side. Usually gets that strike at the top of the zone to really set up his breaking ball and the changeup. Early on, he did not have that. Like Nomar was talking about, as a hitter, when you're not hitting that fastball, hitting your spots normally, you know, he didn't have his fastball command tonight. So you can kind of hunt certain pitches. I saw Springer. I know he hit it off the end of the bat. He was trying to leave, sitting on a changeup. Guys were going up there hunting a certain pitch, and that's what happens when you don't have your ace stuff. Guys will look in an area, and he was hitting those spots, and those hitters were not missing it.
He gave up 8 hits tonight. 5 of them came off of that changeup, a couple of them off of the slider, so they certainly were looking more off speed, at least getting hits against those. And Jerry, we've talked about this bullpen. The Dodgers struggles with the bullpen mostly the entire season, and we figured at some point they're going to have to come up big for this Dodgers team in the postseason. They had an opportunity to help out there in that 6th inning, but it just wasn't their night.
Yeah, Emmett Sheehan comes in a tough situation. Obviously, bases loaded, nobody out. You have to be able to make a pitch, but here's the thing. We talked about it earlier. These guys shorten up with 2 strikes
To us, and we can be aggressive in our spot.
They weren't able to change speeds at all coming out of the bullpen. You know, when they changed speeds, the ball was in the middle of the plate or not breaking at all. And when they threw their fastball, it was something that you could just sit on. It was, you know, the adrenaline hit the bullpen in a bad way. It made them overthrow their breaking stuff. It made them not be able to locate their off-speed stuff. And it made their fastball command kind of go awry. It was a very bad night for them.
Certainly was not a good night for the Dodgers overall as they dropped Game 1 11-4. Let's go back to Toronto and hear from Blake Snell right now with Kirsten Watson and the media.
Blake, the Dodgers gave up just 4 runs in the entire NLCS. They gave 9 runs in the 6th inning. Toronto hangs an 11 spot on the board, bangs out 14 hits, wins it 11-4 in decisive fashion. Blue Jays struck out just 4 times in this game. We told you before this game started that the Blue Jays would be tough to strike out. They had the lowest K rate in all of baseball, less than 18%. They put the ball in play. They put it in play a whole lot in Game 1, and now they have a 1-0 series lead on the reigning World Series champs. All right, back here with Bobby V, Will Middlebrooks, and Lewis Brinson. And Bobby, I don't think we saw this coming. A 9-run 6th inning. Your reaction to what unfolded there for the Blue Jays in that inning?
Well, I think the Blue Jays could have been behind by a lot of runs by the time they got to the 6th inning. But they weren't. They held them to just 2 runs, and then they ignited. They ignited with Bo Bichette leading the team off with a big walk after a real long inning, right, by Snell the inning before. So now he's 6 more pitches into that fatigueness, if you will, and then the dams opened up.
Well, this was something that I didn't see coming. I don't think you saw coming into this game. We didn't think the Blue Jays were going to hang 11 on the board in Game 1. Just your initial thoughts of how that game played out.
The Blue Jays offense is a juggernaut this postseason. I mean, again, we didn't see them putting up 11 runs, but I saw them keeping up with the Dodgers at least. But that 9-run 6th inning, and like you said, Bobby V, big at bat by Bo Bichette leading off. He gets pinch ran for, and then just fouling off pitches, being the pesky offense that they've been all postseason, man.
If you're the Dodgers, are you a little in the back of your mind? You come into this series feeling good. You're the Dodgers. You're loaded. You have all this pitching. They beat your guy.
They did.
Yeah. They crushed him. They got into the pin, which we talked about, what you had to do to beat these guys.
Yeah.
Are you a little worried? Are you
sitting
back going, maybe we met our match. Yeah. Maybe we're gonna shock. They're going to shock the world here.
Well, I almost wonder too, Bobby, did Dave Roberts get a little too confident? Did he get a little too cocky? Because he was, by my estimation, outmanaged in this game by John Schneider, who's managing in his first World Series game. You're going to Emmett Sheehan, the youngster, who's a very good major league pitcher. But in this situation here, with the bases loaded, what did you make of that move?
Well, I think he had him up in the 5th, thinking maybe he should start the 6th, that he's second-guessing himself right now, that he didn't start the 6th. You bring in a young guy with a clean inning and no one on base, you give him a chance in his first World Series. You guys, Lewis, you guys said it, Willie, before the game. Hey, if you get into this Dodger pen, you're going to have big trouble put on the faces of the Dodgers. And I thought after 84 pitches in 5 innings, Snell should have been gone. Yeah. I thought that was enough. He was trying to squeeze a little water out of a rock, and there wasn't anything there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I get bringing in the righty, Springer, obviously, and then you have Guerrero, and so you don't want to bring in Banda because of that.
Yep.
But Banda at least has postseason experience. He was there last year on that team. He was there with them on that run. Bringing in a rookie, making his postseason debut with the bases chucked in that atmosphere.
One of those things, I'm going to show confidence in my pitcher. I know he needs my confidence. He has 2 guys on. He could get out of this. Bases loaded. Whoops, what do I do now? You have to be prepared. When you're not prepared, that stuff happens. And I think one time Dave Roberts just wasn't prepared for that situation.
Look, I was very confused by this move, and I was talking about it with you guys. Was Dave Roberts, again, not giving this game to the Blue Jays, but in that instance, in that spot, did he really think, no disrespect to Sheehan, he's a big league pitcher, he's pitching in the World Series for the Dodgers, but did he really think that Sheehan was going to come in, no outs against this Blue Jay offense that had a bunch of momentum? You could see the momentum building. Everybody on the field, anybody in the dugout, you can see this momentum building. Did he really think that Sheehan was going to come in and get him out of that inning?
I think he trusted him. I think he thought he could get the outs with the right-handed bats that were coming up. He didn't want to go the lefty with those big righties that can hit the ball in the 3rd deck in that place. So we had to make a choice there.
Right.
And to your point, maybe you just give up a couple runs and you move on. He didn't expect the wheels to fall off like that.
Not like that, but I mean, I'm very confused by the move. Again, you bring a young guy in that situation. They are very thin, but you bring in a young guy in that situation. I didn't understand what he what he really thought right there.
Lewis, you and Will are young guys. You've played in this analytic era. You hear all about everything's worked out before the game. Yeah. We have everything figured out. This wasn't on the plan. It wasn't Snell leaving the game with bases loaded and no outs and bringing in the rookie pitcher. That was not a plan. And then when you're not prepared, you get bit.
Yeah, that's the confusing part because, okay, you bring in Emmett Sheehan there, but it's Emmett Sheehan to face Ernie Clement, who's putting bat on ball. He's hitting over 440 this postseason. Yeah. So to me, it's not like you're like if you want to get swings and misses, I get it, but that's not the guy to try to go and get swings and misses from Emmett Sheehan. Right. I know he has an electric fastball, but in that situation, bring in a guy like you said who has more experience in a 2-2 game, bases loaded, everything just got tightened up. And now you're asking this youngster to come in and get you out of a jam?
Right. That's it. Again, I didn't really see that move really work.
Do you know what I'm saying? This is why fans like me, we get upset with managers like him because it's like, what are you thinking now?
Well, this is he made a good point. Bobby made a good point of this is the analytical era where their decisions are made.
Is that what I'm supposed to do as a fan? Go, well, it's analytics. I'm just supposed to sit back and then we're supposed to blame it.
But that's why these decisions are made, were because of those pockets and the matchups, and they like that matchup better than bringing in the left.
Did you really like that matchup better, though?
No.
No one.
I'm not saying I did. I didn't have to make the call.
I know. I'm just saying, like, did you really like that matchup?
No one in this era has used analytics and his players better than Dave Roberts.
Right.
Correct. Correct.
That's mastermind.
He might know something more than we know for making that decision, but I think he was just hoping that Snell was going to get out of it.
I was going to say,
hoping.
That's the point we're missing.
You don't want to be
Snell
hoping.
didn't do his job.
It's not a
Snell
database.
couldn't throw his fastball for strikes.
Yeah.
That's why he was in that position in the first place.
He saw that. We saw that.
But that's part of the job as a manager is to, okay, if my guy doesn't have it, I need to find the next guy that might have it in this situation,
they're all
as you said.
IL.
they're all off the roster.
There's still plenty of guys in the bullpen. There are plenty of guys in the bullpen. I'm still sort of figuring out why you went to that guy in that situation, because then it's just bat on ball. They keep putting the ball in play, and then Lewis, it's Addison Barger. Pinch hitting for Davis Schneider. We questioned the move to start Davis Schneider, and now here we've got Addison Barger coming up in a big spot. First career grand slam, and it's the first pinch hit grand slam in World Series history. Just the moment that he was able to meet right there on that pitch.
Yeah, I mean, series prior,
It's a left on left. He got a first pitch fastball. He came out of his shoes. He came completely unglued. He fouled it off. Then he gets that hanging slider, does that. By the way, this is his first World Series at bat. I remember my first World Series at bat. My knees were knocking together. But I felt like the pitcher was 30 feet away from me on top of me. I'm facing Trevor Rosenthal throwing 100. Strikes me out on a changeup. We'll talk about
We don't talk about that.
But for him to be that calm and in the moment and that tough of a matchup and bases loaded and go bridge like that.
And once again, I think the pregame analytics showed that that's the matchup that John wanted.
Yes.
for sure.
Snyder was there in the second hole, waiting for Sheen to come out of that bullpen so that Barger could go up there and pinch hit. They were prepared for that.
Barger started the season in the minors, and here he is hitting a grand slam in Game 1 of the World Series, one of the greatest moments all time in Blue Jays franchise history, and quite a moment that we saw late in the game, and we heard late in the game Blue Jays fans shouting, "We don't need you. We don't need you," shouting to Shohei Ohtani, which I would say, be careful what you wish
wake
for.
him up.
Don't poke the bear.
Don't
Don't
poke
poke
the
the
bear.
bear, because he already got one.
He still went
He
deep.
did homer.
He did, and looked at the stands
Yes.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
On that walk,
Trust
yeah.
me,
What were you saying?
you always need Shohei Ohtani.
Yes.
Okay? You always.
I know you guys are feeling in the moment, but Blue Jays fans,
Yeah.
Relax here. So, yes. Yeah, I did say the Dodgers in 4. That's not going to happen. It'll be Dodgers in 5 now, okay? So we'll see.
Still win 4 in a row.
We'll see. But wow, what a Game 1 for the Toronto Blue Jays as they take it by a definitive count. 11-4, decisive 7-run victory. Coming in to Game 1 of the World Series, teams to win Game 1 have won 6 of the past 7 World Series. Perhaps that trend will continue. But it's a long series, long way to go. That's what everybody's going to say after this Game 1. Oh, it's a long series. They put up 11 runs. That's the 3rd most runs in Game 1 of a World Series. The Blue Jays hang 11 on the scoreboard, take a 1-0 series lead. They'll look to take, a 2-0 series lead? Is that possible? At home Saturday night.